Hello and welcome to this Prepare for IELTS Speaking video. In this video, we'll look at this Part 1 topic, small businesses. So these are the kinds of questions that they might ask you for this topic. Let's take a look. Sadly. So you can use this when you mean unfortunately. Sadly. Tough. If something is tough, it's very difficult. It's hard. Tough. Companies is a good word to mean businesses. You could use this in IELTS writing too. To go bankrupt is when you don't have enough money to pay your bills and you are no longer able to control your business, and so the court decides to bankrupt the business and sell everything to pay the debts. To go bankrupt, many small ones have gone bankrupt. Are there many small businesses in your area? Sadly, not as many as there used to be. The last few years have been tough for all companies, and many small ones have gone bankrupt or shut down. Freshly made stuff. We often use the word stuff in speaking to mean things, but we use it uncountably. Stuff. Freshly made, they've been recently made. Freshly made stuff. Remember to use I tend to talk about things you usually do. I tend to use. A family-run business is a company owned by a family. A family-run business. Chain stores are a big group that has lots of shops, lots of stores selling the same type of product. So for example, in the UK, Tesco is a chain store. Do you prefer shopping at small businesses or big stores? It depends on what I'm buying. If I'm getting freshly made stuff, such as bread and cakes, then I tend to use small family-run businesses. For other purchases, I find big chain stores are cheaper. Many IELTS candidates overuse the word usually, so that's why I keep repeating things like I tend to. You can also use generally. Goods from small independent retailers. Goods are items that you buy. Small independent retailers are small shops not controlled by anyone else, so they're not part of a chain. Independent retailers. If something is pricey, it's expensive, so they are a bit pricier, a bit more expensive. So it's definitely not down to cost. It's definitely not because of cost. Due to cost. It's because of the quality of the products, how good or bad something is. Why do some people prefer to shop at small businesses? Generally, goods from small independent retailers are a bit pricier, so it's definitely not down to cost. I guess it's because of the quality of the products instead. At some point in the future. It means in the future, but you don't know when. At some time in the future. At some point in the future. We talk about short-term plans, long-term plans. You could also use these in writing as well. It's not in my short-term plans. That means things I plan to do soon. My short-term plans. And very useful for IELTS writing too, in the current economic climate. So how the economy is at the moment. In the current economic climate. It's a risky time. It's a dangerous time. To set up a new business. To start a new business. Would you ever like to run your own small business? Possibly at some point in the future, but it's not in my short-term plans. In the current economic climate, It's a risky time to set up a new business. Stuff, we have freshly made stuff. I find the stuff you get in the supermarket is not very fresh. The things. So here I'm referring back to the bread, but I mean the things you get in the supermarket. Fresh, it's recently made. Fresh. I can't stand, I hate. Stale bread is bread that's very dry, maybe it's started to go mouldy, like the green in this picture. Stale bread. When was the last time you bought something from a small business? Last week. I always buy bread from a local shop because I find the stuff you get in the supermarket is not very fresh and I can't stand stale bread. Okay, it's time for the quiz now. How can we say difficult? I used it to describe the last few years. They have been tough. Tough. If you can't pay what you owe and the court decides to sell your property, your goods to pay your debts, you go bankrupt. Go bankrupt. So many companies have gone bankrupt. How can we say a store that is part of a group of similar stores selling the same type of product? A chain store. A chain store. How can we say old and dry bread? Stale. Stale. How can we say dangerous? Risky. Risky. How can we say privately owned shops are not controlled by anyone else? Independent retailers. Independent retailers. How can we say expensive? Pricey. Pricey. How can we say things I plan to do soon? My short-term plans. You could also say my long-term plans, so things you plan to do a long time in the future. My short-term plans. How can we say businesses? Companies. It's important to have lots of words and phrases to talk about businesses in IELTS speaking and for IELTS writing. So businesses, companies, corporations, organisations, all great words. And finally, how can we say a company owned by a family? A family-run business. A family-run business.